Welcome. We're here with Web3. This is the sixth time I think we've done this, but we'll get it the last time. We're doing games with Web3 Frens here at ETHDenver. We're going to do this little Web3 Friends with Games with Web3 Frens. We're going to make it a series. Okay. So obviously we're doing it in IRL here today. Mr. Mendes, welcome. How are you doing?
You.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
I hear you're from 7 hours away, time zone wise.
Yeah. I flew in about 18 hours ago, so apologies if I seem a bit odd.
We'll walk you through. I don't know if you're going to win here, with Connect 4, but we'll definitely walk you through. We didn't reset the game, but while I'm doing this and resetting the game, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're building?
Yeah, so I'm a CEO and one of the co-founders of Avenue. Avenue is an online collaboration platform for Web3 communities and organizations. Basically, and I know that you folks at Metaintro have a lot of connections with this, but the big unifying factor in Web3 right now is that everyone hates Discord. And Discord is kind of what we call the representation of the old way of working, where people are assigned into a single entity that controls all of the resources.
Interesting.
Yeah, by that, I mean they control the information, they control the human resources, they control the capital, and you kind of exist within that organization. So all of the reputation that you build, that you accrue over time, it's in those silos. You change companies, you kind of lose everything that you've built. You kind of lose the connections and all the reputation that you gained over time. Web3, on the other hand, is moving in a different direction into this new world where people are working across multiple organizations, and the work is a lot more permeable.
Sure.
People dip in and out according to their availabilities, their interests, would change over time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the tools that we use right now are not built with that in mind. They have a lot of legacy from the old way of working, and I'm not trying to talk smack about anything here. Like a lot of these tools, like Discord, they were just built for different purposes. It's great for vibing. It's great for what you folks do, and just bringing people together and connecting them. When you're actually trying to get from point A to point B, it just all falls apart a little bit. It's a lot more difficult to coordinate, to get stuff shipped out. So that's where we come in.
Yeah.
We're building collaborative spaces for people from different organizations to just get together, and it's all built around principles of getting stuff done, getting from point A to point B to C to D, and then finally shipping something that you are proud of and you're ready to show, and ship it to an organization, to a DAO or to multiple DAOs. So we actually work across the boundaries. We kind of knock down those silos, and try to we see the world and these organizations as networks, as nodes in a network. Okay. And the people are the ones who connect them.
As a CTO, that's number one priority. I feel like, especially early stage, is always worried about distribution. Where is your inroads? Maybe help out our audience here. Where are some of the inroads that you're looking at, first? Because always that's important to get that, product market fit.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So that's a part of what I think is beautiful in our product. It's so easy to get started and gain network effects. Usually when let's say you're building like a new Slack, like Threads or something. You need to bring in the whole organization, and for Web3 communities, that's usually thousands of people, and it's hard to get the full buy-in.
100%.
Instead, what we're doing is we're working closely with teams that are helping us actually develop the product and giving us feedback and iterating with us, and they're building something that we're building something that they actually want to work in.
Okay.
And the way that it works is don't really need the organization to be there. You can just, like me and you can just create this collaborative space with a link. I'll send you a link, we'll join and we'll collaborate there without the rest of the organization being there.
Is it open then for anybody to,
for now it's going to be, if you have the link, it's going to be completely open, just like as a first step, and then we're going to add more permissioning rules.
For certain specific things. That's great, No, you're right. It's, we jumped into Web3 early as a community, as an ecosystem, and we took some of these Web 2, tools. Discord is obviously, you definitely got to go first here on this as we get our Connect 4 going. Yes, so to keep context, where's the best place if somebody's saying this is interesting, and for me it's definitely interesting. It's the first time hearing about it. How would somebody get involved? Would they need to get involved with a specific community first, or and maybe even the best place, a link or something for them to go to?
Right. So we haven't launched yet.
Okay.
We're gonna be launching. We're gonna be launching really, really soon. I'm not gonna make any promises about the exact date, but it's
Your engineers, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. But we're gonna be launching really soon. We're gonna be launching a sort of open beta. So we have a lot of organizations that are around 150 on our wait list. We're going to onboard just a few in the beginning, but if you're not on one of those organizations, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to use it. You're going to be able to create these collaborative spaces and use it just the same, but you just won't be able to ship stuff to that given organization.
That makes sense, yeah.
So as an example, if we were, building writing an article or something, and you wanted to ship that article to Metaintro, like a blog post, something like that, an announcement, and Metaintro wasn't there, then you wouldn't be able to
Makes
post
sense.
it. But you'd still be able to try out the platform, get the feel for it, and so on.
Are we talking kind of all in video, text, design? And there's. I'm not saying that there's been a couple, because I totally, and actually, at a previous company, permissioning is one of the hardest pieces to do for any type of document. If we're just talking about any piece of media as a document, it's very hard to do access control. Is there something specific in terms of content that you're starting off with? Is it just text-based or just
So just text-based for now. We have plans to introduce a lot of other forms of communication. We just want to start slow and nail the experience first before expanding.
Okay.
So
Makes
we're
sense.
starting with the idea of the minimal viable collaboration mechanisms to get things done.
Yeah.
And then if you can, the rest is just kind of an improvement on top of that.
You've really interested me, so I'm keeping going on the business. So maybe who would be the first piece in terms of, you mentioned DAOs earlier. Are you seeing it as an entry point? You actually mentioned you had 150 on your list. Is it DAOs? Is it co-ops? Is it NFT projects? Is it crypto coins? Which is kind of maybe where you see initial adoption?
Due to a lot of our connections in the space and our own personal network, we're starting focused in DAOs, but it's not just for DAOs. So this isn't necessarily a DAO product in itself. It just so happens that DAOs are leading at this forefront of new ways of working. So it makes sense for us to start with DAOs. It also means, we're all about Web3 organizations in general, but it also means that you could actually get easily started. What we're focusing on now is communities, organizations that have something they want to ship. So if it's just
great. It gives them it's a centerpiece to kind of get them moving in one direction. And it's measurable for all parties involved. The product will evolve with the first users, right? So it's something that we can measure. Are we helping them get from A to B faster, more efficiently? And it's quantifiable for us, quantifiable apologies, for them. And it's a lot easier for them to give us feedback and help us develop the product if they have a very specific goal in mind. That's why we're starting with teams within these specific communities first before opening it up little by little. So if somebody's listening to this, a DAO or an interest, where would be the best place? Do you guys kind of have a wait list or an alpha list on your site?
Yeah, if you go to Avenue.place, you're going to be able to find all the information like how the product works. Waitlist.avenue.place links you to a form that you can sign up, and we'll be in contact. We always reply to people on our waitlist and try to give as much context and try to understand the fit as possible.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about the team. I'm sure
I'm
sure you love the team. I'm sure they're watching. I'm sure they're excited. How have they kind of come together? What are you guys looking to add? Somebody that's potentially interested in joining, building alongside you guys, as Lacey and I like to say. Yeah. What does that process look like?
So, in terms of team, we're 6 right now. We're 3 co-founders. We all met in DAO, so that's kind of where...
a shared interest. Let me guess, was it a shit show of a DAO?
I know.
It was a good DAO.
It was a good DAO.
Because there's shit shows of DAOs.
I actually misspoke. Like, one of the co-founders I already knew from past projects, but the third co-founder, Nelson, we actually met at Crypto Society. Was terrific to get to know, and that's kind of how we all got together and got started.
Okay.
In terms of team, we're not hiring right now, but we're going to be hiring soon. So that's always terrific. And we want to get more people who are involved with Web3 to be part of our team.
Okay.
If we're building for this new frontier, and if we're helping these communities and organizations lead the way about how we work, then we need people who have that first-hand experience, and that's where we're focusing on.
Yeah. And think about it. There's maybe not a big of a pool, of individuals that have been through the grind of forming some of these DAOs. And I mean, it's been a rough 18 months, if you will, through going and building these. And, so you obviously see a Web3 focus. Is there anything in terms of like a decentralization nature that you see kind of taking some of that? Like the example that struck with me was your example of, I work at a Web2 company, I get all this shared knowledge, and maybe the best thing that I get out of it is like an alumni group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like you get, but I don't get anything else, and I can't share any of that. Do you see any entry points into that?
Yeah, so
I know that's a tough question.
we actually have
okay.
a few interesting features in the product for that. So we do a lot of automations for DAOs. When you ship something to a DAO, we actually have this concept of allowing you to automate a lot of the workflows that they do. Okay. This is my turn.
I think it is. Yeah.
We actually do a lot of automations about what you need to do, and part of that automation is recording the work that you've done.
Sure.
So as a byproduct of how we've built our product, you actually get this a very clear idea of who's done what in a project. Mm-hmm. And we allow you to record that off-chain or on-chain through our friend at Gavin. That's the protocol that we're using. Okay. So shout out to them, of course. And we actually build these profiles that help you carry the reputation. So you can create a collaborative space on Avenue. You can contribute to an organization that's on Avenue. You can record everything that you've done on Avenue and then take it somewhere else. And that's part of the vision that we have. Like no organization, no single entity should own the reputation that you build over time. Yeah. And you can see a very clear example that exists in the real world is what GitHub represents for developers. Yep. You have the graph and you have the commits that prove the work that you've done, and it makes sense, but it only works because it's a byproduct of the way that they're working. So the way that we designed Avenue was to have in mind and have as a byproduct this sort of GitHub feel to things, where we can infer and we can record the work that you do, and then present that on your profile.
This is I can just think of a couple DAOs that I know of just giving that proof of work and history is really meaningful because I'm sure you've been in maybe you're at least seen a couple token-based DAOs where yes, a token could get you the ability to make a proposal, but so much work goes into getting that proposal out. So much work goes to potentially communicating that proposal, and that's obviously reputation and things like that. So is there going to be like is there any, this might be a dream or a pie in the sky, is there any like a social score or like something along those lines? Because you mentioned the great one of like Git commit history. It's a great like verifiable piece that I could see. Is there anything like fun like that or no?
Kind of. So we don't do scores that are like quantifiable. We don't grade people from 0 to 100 or anything like that. Work is subjective. Yes. For one DAO or one organization, like marketing work can be tremendously valuable. For another, it might not be as valuable. So how you can't really quantify that. Sure. We just accept the subjective nature of work. So we try to state the facts, and we try to record the fact that you have written an article alongside me, going back to the previous example, and that article was shipped to a certain organization, shipped to Metaintro or something like that. Yeah. So that's kind of the way that we're building the profiles. It's, it gives you the feel of what you've done, and eventually we might add stuff like what you've done over time, because we're starting with these larger contributions. So right now, once we launch, we're going to record that both of us wrote the article.
Yeah.
But we're not going to record the steps that led to
went
that.
in there, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to come like later. We already have plans in place for that,
Sure.
but we're going to start by the end product first, and then backfill that as we add more features. So you're going to actually be able to see the little steps and the work that sometimes goes behind the scenes, and people don't get to see, don't get the reward for that. This also opens the doors to stuff like contribution-based governance, which is terrific if you work in a DAO and if you work in certain types of organizations.
Yeah. No, this is super interesting. I haven't heard of this before. So what would success look like for you for ETHDenver, and, kind of the rest of the week? What are you here to do? What can you, chill out here, for what you're here at ETHDenver for?
So we are eventually going to do a seed round soon. So we're here to, get a feel of the ecosystem first, do a bit of groundwork, and get things started. But honestly, we're just here to, chill a bit, meet people.
Enjoy Web3, get that face-to-face.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're going to, I'm telling you, I think you guys are very well positioned from a standpoint of the industry needs a product like this. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes that could be brought to the forefront that can quantify it. Is there anybody else doing anything like this? You don't need to.
I don't know anyone.
I
don't know of anyone who's thinking about it the same way.
Is it
that we do?
you?
At least I think it's your turn.
Okay. This is by far the best game, by the way, that we've had all day. So this is getting intense.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. You almost got me there.
I did, yeah, I was close.
So I haven't seen or heard anyone who's doing it like this. I think that we're thinking and seeing the problem in a very different light, but this is because we've been working with directly with contributors in DAOs to understand their needs, and we've been focusing on DAOs that have reached a certain level of maturity, that have been having success despite the tools, because when you're beginning a DAO, you don't really notice the pains of using a tool like Discord. It actually helps you get started if it's really centralized and you have a really small community. But once you start growing up, you feel the need to self-organize. And once you start to get contributors that are working across multiple DAOs, information just gets lost.
Yeah.
And we're trying to literally knock down the silos that we've backed ourselves into. And I think that is something that we really need as an ecosystem. And hopefully we're going to be able to help Web3 organizations get to that stage where they can be as fast and reach their potential.
Yeah. When you do start hiring, what are you going to be potentially looking for?
Do I want to put that there? This is tricky. I'm just going to do that and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, again, sorry, what was the question?
When you do start hiring, what are you gonna, maybe, and I think I find this question interesting because I think there's a number of maybe different components that you might need in your, because think about it, like all the different, it's maybe not as simple. Yes, of course, you have the common software shipping, products, but there's a lot of different roles within that you guys are going to have to kind of implore.
Yeah, we try to be as versatile as possible. Like three co-founders, we have all like very complementary skill sets. So
Sure.
I come from a product background, development and engineering background.
Yeah.
Nelson comes from a community and marketing background, and Raphael is our third co-founder, is a designer. So we always try to bring this spirit of versatility to the team. But when we start hiring, I honestly don't know what our first focus will be.
Sounds like somebody that's versatile.
Yeah. But at some point we do need to start specifying, right?
There we go.
But the one thing that we've 100% nailed on...
You got me.
Yeah, I did.
You did get me.
Yeah.
I got a block there.
Yeah, and now, there we go. That's those four.
This was by far the best game, yes.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't notice that I had this possibility.
I should have told you.
Yeah. It went well.
It went well for you.
Yeah. Good game.
Yes, it was a very good game. I think this is a very interesting prospect. I have not seen anybody else building this, and that's what I've seen a lot of. There's been a bunch of duplicates, or as we say, a little bit of additives, a fork, stuff like that. So I appreciate the effort of going after something that's bold and new, and I mean you're going after some behemoths, and like you said, the Discords and the Slack, and like you said, it could 100% be additive. You know what I mean? And that's there's nothing wrong with that.
We know that organizations are on Discord right now, so it's not like we're going head on against Discord. We actually have a Discord bot that you can use to get started in these collaborative spaces and then float the outcome back to the DAO that's residing on Discord. We eventually want to house things on Avenue, and because it just becomes a more natural flow for the user and for the community. But we do realize that there's space in the market for Slack and for Discord and tools like that. But it's just a completely different paradigm. Like work is changing, the concept of labor is changing, and we want to be at the forefront of that. And more than that, we want the people who are the organizations who are trailblazing in this to help us get something up that they actually are happy to use, that they actually want to use and get value off of that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely incredible. Avenue.
Avenue, yeah.
What's the, we'll link it, but what's the website?
Avenue.place.
Avenue.place. That is absolutely fantastic. Anything else left to shill here before?
Not really.
No, nothing?
Not really. Connect Four, really good game.
It was a very good game. Thank you for coming out. It was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah,
I learned a lot. Avenue.place, y'all.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.